So the Mario movie is out now, and overall it seems like the audience loves it. It has a 96% score on Rotten Tomatoes right now. However, if you scroll to the left, then you can see that in terms of critic scores, it has a 54% approval rate with 139 reviews as of this video. So what's a discrepancy? I feel like we're seeing this more and more often in movies now than we used to. I definitely feel like there's always like some kind of discrepancy between the audience and the critics now, and I wonder what the issue is with Mario in particular. Hey beautiful humans, I'm RidersDX, and today we're gonna go ahead and take a look at some of these reviews that have been coming out for the Mario movie and kind of see like what critics are not liking about this movie, but why that doesn't seem to be a thing that matters for the audience in particular. I'm gonna just get this out of the way right now. I love this movie. I saw it on Wednesday as soon as it came out, and I had to say I loved it. I thought it was a great fun time. I'm looking forward to making some more videos on it where I dive a little deeper into my opinions on it, but I just wanted to take this video to go do some of the critic reception for this movie and kind of see like what is it that critics are seeing that the audience isn't seeing, because a 96% audience score is pretty intense. If you think about it, like that's just 4% off from a perfect score. And so looking at some of these critic reviews, as I kept reading through them, I started to see some pretty interesting patterns between all the comments, and so let's take a quick look at some of them. A movie that's as hollow as a trailer, something that willfully avoids anything creative or ambitious. Mario and Luigi deserve so much better. The Super Mario Bros. Movie is big studio filmmaking at its worst. It's a kid's film that tries to pack in as many Easter eggs as it can, but forgets to inject any wit or fun into its plot. The Super Mario Bros. Movie is mostly just a kid-friendly commercial for the video games. A satisfying motion picture, it is not. Transferring the high-jumping gameplay of Mario and Luigi and inserting a bunch of game references into place where a plot might go is not enough to carry a movie. It is disappointing that Super Mario has not only been reduced and molded to fit the unambitious and lackadaisical Illumination brand, but it is also this generic and soulless speedrunning through as much fan service as possible. So that was a mouthful, definitely. A lot of pretty harsh claims towards this movie, but here's the gist of what I'm getting from these reviews. What I'm getting from them is that the movie is flashy, the movie looks good, the movie does a lot to try to like be as faithful as possible to the video games, but as a result, it looks like it's lost some of the storytelling quality that should have been there in the movie as well. Calling it things like generic and soulless, not a great motion picture overall, having no wit or humor in the plot. It's some pretty stark claims, and it's something that a lot of these video game movies tend to fall into the trap of, and something I honestly was concerned about as we started seeing more content for this movie, because if you recall, in one of my very first videos on the Mario movie, I talked about how the biggest challenge to this movie was going to be building a compelling narrative for Mario. Mario being a video game franchise that's not really focused on story at all throughout its entire history, having to build even a 1.5 movie feature where you're basically telling an entire story about this plumber without really having much to go off on in terms of source material besides, you know, all the numerous references that they're putting into this movie. Illumination definitely had their work cut out for them in terms of having to start from scratch and really building a nice and compelling narrative for Mario to follow through and make people connect to Mario in a way that's effective. And so I won't lie, when I started seeing these scores before I saw the movie, I was feeling a little bit vindicated. I was like, okay, I'm not happy that this movie's not getting good scores, but I am a little bit like flexing my brain because I thought that the movie was getting criticism for something that I thought was going to be the most challenging thing for this movie to ace. And so that was my thoughts on the night before I saw this movie. Then I looked at some of the more positive comments, and I saw that although these comments were positive, they also sort of said the same thing. So here's what I mean by that. None of this is likely to be enough for anyone to exclaim, "Oh yeah," while hopping up and down and doffing their cap, but it is an hour and a half's worth of superlative marketing that will whet your appetite for more Mario back home on the couch. While its narrative is rather formulaic and it's lacking the depth of more profound animated fare, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is still a fun and gorgeously animated delight. The massive world is interesting, the score is nostalgic, and the nods are so much fun. Also, Pratt is surprisingly good as Mario. The downside comes with the pacing and inability to make the overall story interesting. The Super Mario Bros. Movie is absolutely a Nintendo game brought to dazzling life. It's got the characters, world, and adventurous spirit right on the money, but those expecting something akin to the Lego Movie might be left cold. It's all quite fun with a good sense of humor and a consistent computer animated aesthetic. Plus, at 90 minutes including credits, it's short, sweet, and over before anything can get annoying. So yeah, like I said, a lot of these comments did praise the overall movie and talking about how it made them want to go back and play Mario and they loved all the different references and things like that, but they all had the same comments about the plot. The only difference is these critics seem to kind of take the movie for what it was, a nice flashy little picture that showcased the world of Mario in the most faithful way possible and just enjoyed it based off of that. You know, they weren't going in expecting like this profound plot akin to like the Lego movie or Puss in Boots or Spider-Verse, you know, and they just had a good time. They just went in a movie and had a good time and enjoyed the throwbacks to Mario. And so I think it's a difference of mindset between critics here. Some critics went in there, you know, trying to judge a movie like any other movie, while other critics were like, well, this movie is probably not going to give us that, but it can give us a fun hour and a half of tons of Mario references, a great cast, and an overall fun time. And so it really does depend on how you look at this movie, in my opinion. That's going to direct how you receive it. But then I went and actually watched this movie myself, and not only did I love all the things that they mentioned about that, I actually enjoyed the plot myself personally. And so I'm definitely gonna make another video talking specifically about why I think the plot of this was actually pretty good, but that has to be for another day because I'm still trying to digest what that plot was and all the specific things that I actually did love about it. But going back to some of these reviews, there are actually a bunch of people that just love the movie for pretty much everything. So I want to go through some of those comments as well. A nostalgia overload that will have you smiling throughout the whole film. Jack Black steals every scene he's in as Bowser. All in all, it's a quick and simple yet feel-good movie that serves as a love letter to the world of Mario. The Super Mario Bros. Movie feels to me like a fitting celebration of a series of beloved video games, but what do I know? As a movie, it's perfectly entertaining. The Super Mario Bros. Movie is an absolute joy. While kids lose themselves in a fun-filled adventure to save the Mushroom Kingdom, adults can revel in the nostalgia where every nod to Nintendo is delivered to perfection. The Super Mario Bros. Movie is a rollicking CGI adventure that hilariously incorporates Nintendo's most popular characters, childhood favorites, run, jump, kick, and go-kart race through colorful, eye-popping worlds. I think this movie does well by making a fun and coherent story with heart and feels like a celebration of the franchise by tying as much of the many facets of the franchise all together in a banger of the animated film. So look at these critics, they seem to love the movie as an overall package, and if I had to bet something, I had to bet that most of them, if not all of them, are probably big fans of Mario already. And if there's one thing this movie made me realize while I was watching it, is that it made me remember just how big of a fan of Mario I am. You know, it's so easy for me to get caught in all these other different franchises. Like, I'm a huge Sonic nerd, for instance. I love SpongeBob games, and I dedicate so much energy to those two franchises that sometimes I just forget that Mario was a franchise I grew up with as well. I mean, I may not have grown up with a Nintendo 64, and I didn't play Super Mario 64 or Mario Kart 64 when I first got video games in general, but I did play Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy was the first Mario platformer I truly fell in love with, and Paper Mario, that series remains one of my favorite video game series of all time. Like, those games beat every single thing on the Nintendo consoles, in my opinion. So that's a controversial take, but it is what it is. And so going into this movie and seeing all the different references and seeing how much love was poured into making sure that this was a movie that fans would enjoy was something that I was surprisingly like really satisfied with. And I think that's where all these like positive critic reviews really come from, is that even though the story is not like the most like Shakespearean thing you're ever going to see, it was perfectly suitable for a movie like Mario, and it added just enough character development and heart to make it effective. I won't even lie to you, I did tear up a little bit at the end. I won't talk about spoilers, I'll definitely have further videos to talk about like my actual thoughts on the plot and such, and so definitely be sure to subscribe if you want to stay in tune with that. But I think the overall message I wanted to give with this video is that though the critics are not being very like light when it comes to grading the Mario movie, if you love Mario, if you love the kind of movies that the Mario movie seems to be like, you'll enjoy this movie. Honestly, it's not gonna be for like the average moviegoer that wants something storytelling wise is completely amazing. But if you're a Mario fan, if you grew up loving the franchise and loving the characters, then this movie really does it justice. You know, this movie really gives these characters like a third dimension and tells a compelling story that people that love these characters are going to love. That's my main take home point. It's not the most amazing story in the world, but it is a great story for Mario, and I think it suits this franchise really well. So if you're a Mario fan, you'll love this movie, and if you're not a Mario fan, well, it's still a fun, entertaining hour nonetheless, and who knows, maybe you'll go in and be interested in playing some more Mario games afterwards. I think that's the film's ultimate goal, is to make people want to play the video games more, and I think it's definitely going to succeed in that, because all the different references, the actual gameplay mechanics of Mario are in there, and yeah, it makes me want to go pull up like new Super Mario Bros. Or something. I don't know, whatever 2D game I grew up with. It was on the DS or something. But alright y'all, let me know your thoughts about the Mario movie in the comment section below. Did you see it yet? Let me know what you thought of it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know why or why not. Do you agree with these critics? You disagree with them? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And just yeah, stay tuned for more Mario movie videos, because I'm definitely not done with this topic yet. But alright y'all, this is Riders, riding out.